There's an avalanche happening inside of me.
Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about church sermons. Across the entire Christian population, church sermons are a crucial part of our week and our church going. But they come in several different forms, and by forms I mean length and interest levels. I'd like to share some of them with you guys. The first type of sermon is what I like to call the reading list. This type of sermon resembles my university module handbook. The reading list sermon is generally a bunch of verses that the speaker put together which he thought were relevant to each other. The problem with this type of sermon is that there's little to no contextualization. The congregation may end up lost and frustrated flipping through back and forth the Bible. But on a brighter note, we sometimes find some inspiring verses that we've never encountered before. The second type of sermon I wanted to talk about is called the oration. This sermon is distinguished by its epic length due to exposition of several topical tangents. I have to be honest, it's hard to sit through one of these. What speakers don't realize is that the length of a sermon isn't directly proportional to the attention span of the audience. And what I've noticed with this type of sermon is that sometimes a speaker finds it difficult to prove or substantiate his point, so he or she resorts to a number of illustrations, a number of tangents from the main point, which just leads to rabbit trails. And rabbit trails are great, but they're hard to come back from the audience point of view. The third one I wanted to discuss is called the read-through. This is where the speaker does not engage the audience or engages them with very little. They're more like this. I'm reading this sermon and it's great, and yeah. But we should understand that nerves are very powerful and they get even the best of speakers. But I'm sure a little more practice would really help. I think watching a lot of speakers, other speakers, how they deliver their messages, deliver their speeches, would be a great help to you and for those who are aspiring to be preachers someday. And really, you don't need to tell us that you're nervous. We know. We'd freak out ourselves if we were to deliver a sermon. The fourth type of sermon is called the guilt trip. Personally, I don't like feeling attacked by people's words, and I think church visitors, first-time church visitors, wouldn't appreciate hearing from you that their lifestyle or their habits or their disbelief is unacceptable. Ultimately, we all want to share the good news, but that's not possible, I think, if we're constantly banging on people's doors with a sledgehammer. If you want to be effective speakers, we should be mindful of our audience. I don't mean compromise your passionate plea for righteousness, but at least tone it down so that the message of Christ's love could break through. I've heard many sermons in my Christian life, and there were those that were engaging, doctrinally sound, sensitive, and most of all written and spoken very effectively. What I've listed are those that stood out and what I think are very counterproductive. If you have some experiences or thoughts about church sermons, comment below. I'd love to hear them. Till next time, hasta luego.